So, my story about being with a narcissistic, abusive, and child predator for 10 years. I met Brian on Match.com in 2013. I had recently changed careers because I had been previously in a abusive relationship. I had been out of it for 18 months by then. So I felt like I was ready to move forward. And I kind of, on Match.com at the time, you could kind of they let you kind of pick what kind of careers people were in and things like that and kind of narrow it down that way. And since I'd went into healthcare, I chose to go with someone that had been in healthcare too, or was in healthcare. And Brian was a nurse. And I still did a background check on him, just kind of check public records, make sure, he's not married, he's not lying to me about anything, and he was up on the up and up. I mean, he was a nurse. And nurses can't have felonies. So I thought I was safe. When our first date, it was amazing. It really was. And my daughter was 18 months at the time. I mean, normally I wouldn't have brought anyone around my kids that early on, but he had a daughter the same age as twins. So we kind of, a year later, we moved in together. Everything was great. I mean, that first year living together was a little rough. I will say that. And that's just getting used to each other and, your quirks and things like that. But, it didn't start off bad. We had our issues, we had our troubles here and there, but we worked through them and we got through them. And that's what was always every time when we would argue though, he would always go for the jugular. And when we first moved in together, my daughter had broken a piece of glass on this clock. She was like 3 at the time, 2.5, 3 years old. And he started screaming at her and I. And I grabbed her and locked ourselves in the bathroom. And, he promised to never yell at us again like that because it was such a bad trigger for me because of what I'd been through previously. He promised me he would never do that again. And then by the end, it was a daily occurrence. You can ask, actually, my neighbor. He could hear, because you can hear everything through the bathrooms in our apartments or our townhouses. He could hear every day. He could hear every day. Every single day. So the progression from being this wonderful man that we had this blended family. We were like the perfect, we were so happy, and we had every plans to get married. He wanted to adopt her. So we kind of dodged a bullet there. And, at one point when we were toward the end, I was like, I'm not happy the way you're treating me. I'm not happy, the way we are. We can't keep going like this. He actually said, he was like, well, if we do split, can I still spend time with my daughter? Because that was the only dad she'd ever known. Can you imagine if that had happened? Oh. And I carry this immense guilt that I brought him into our lives and that I let him near her. I should never have let that happen. But, I thought he was safe. Nurses are the most trusted profession in the world. Before doctors, before judges, before everything. So I did everything I could to keep us safe. And I still ended up with a child predator in my home. So just for everyone, dating safety is so important. Don't bring your kids around someone right away. I can't stress that enough. Don't jump in. If they're love bombing you at the beginning, don't keep going. Just wait and see their true colors. Because, with my first abusive relationship, they don't show they're crazy right away. I mean, it's usually a few months in. And Brian actually kept his crazy in for a while until we moved in together. And then I saw it. When you're together all the time, you start to see it. I think about times when I had surgery and he couldn't be bothered to take the day off to take me when I had my gallbladder out. He had to work. He couldn't take the day off. When I had one surgery where they removed one of my ovaries, and everyone at work had told him, "Why are you here?" And I wake up from surgery, right, freaking out because my sister-in-law had taken me. And I wake up and Brian's there, and I'm like, "Oh my God, they found cancer. They found something wrong with me." No, he had just been guilted into that he should be there with me. He wasn't there because he wanted to be. The day of my colonoscopy, he couldn't be bothered to take the morning off or the day off for that either because he, and keep in mind, he had plenty of time, like paid time off. He went in, I went in, and then after it, he took me home and then went back to work. My gallbladder surgery was my mom. My hysterectomy, he did take me to that. But, you know, I think back on all these times that he should have been there for me. And every time I was there for him when his father was dying, I did not waver. But when my mom was sick over the past year, when she had an ulcer in her foot, I wasn't getting home till 8, 9 o'clock at night because I'd be teaching and then I'd stop to take care of her wound care. He never once went over there to do that for me. So when I talk about his true colors, he was not the man behind closed doors that he was in public. He could be extremely cruel. And when we had arguments, he went for the jugular. He told me one time that my PTSD and depression, he didn't understand why I still had it. And I was like, you do know that those things don't really go away. And I was going through therapy at the time. And I was in therapy and I was on medication, taking my medications. And then after he confessed to me, he came over to get his, like the day I knew they were going to serve the warrant to get his phone. He came over to get some things and I wanted to talk to him. And he goes, "Now I understand what your depression is like." No, you don't, dude. You don't understand. Depression is something you can't just snap yourself out of. You're depressed because you got caught. Yeah. So when I say he is not a good person, he's not a good person. Even though I thought up until the end, yeah, he has some anger issues, but he was getting better toward the end. And I swore to the cops he would not do something like this. I was proven wrong. It was him. So, and, you know, I can't really, you know, someone in his department, the manager said, "Well, he is innocent until proven guilty." Motherfucker, he confessed to 8 people and the police. He confessed. He told people he did it. And the reason being, while I was working a heck of a lot more hours and cleaning the house, and he wasn't doing shit except going to work and working out every day. His 400 selfies of himself working out, by the way. I was actually working. When did I have time for myself? I wasn't allowed to leave or go anywhere. And if I did, I got a constant text of when you're going to be home. So he was a very controlling, narcissistic, horrible fucking person. That's it for this story, part of the story today. Have a great day, guys.